Did he survive that?
Oh my god, it missed him.
The last bit of laser. Oh my god. No way. No way that last bit of laser got him. I'm gonna get ransacked by him. No, no. So, here you go, fast tip. Just to me. What? You got him again? You're going to enjoy this, like when you're feeling down. Like, how'd you get him? Oh. What happened? How do you get down 2 times?
He probably sacrificed his Sentinel, which makes it even better because his Sentinel died to revive him, and then he just got downed again.
You got that too.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Oh, I got double.
I got.
Also, it does not kill the minions.
He's shooting at me. Oh my god.
You got him when he was slide boosting or whatever.
Oh my god.
So he like flew when he got down.
Oh, so good. Hey, what is going on, all my fellow godlies and Warframe enthusiasts around the world? This is Vance from the ever-popular web series of Warframe God Builds, which we are on the 33rd of, by the way. And Halloween had to have come early this year because the Chains of Harrow quest was rather creepy. Speaking of the Chains of Harrow quest, you will acquire the main blueprint for Harrow from completing that quest line. And if you want to go for the chassis blueprint, you'll find it in Corrupted Void Fissures. If you want to go for the systems, you'll find it in Rotation C of Defection, and if you're after the Neuroptics, you'll find it in Rotation C also from the Kuva Fortress Spy missions. Moving on to Harrow's abilities, his first ability, Condemn, casts a wave of energy that chains the enemies where they stand. Each enemy held reinforces Harrow's shields. What this description doesn't tell you is that it also reinforces your allies' shields. So if they're close enough within the proximity of you casting your first ability, you will also reinforce their shields with overshields. Now personally, with the build that I have, I get up to 3,000 overshields, but the price of redirection at this point in the game without shield gating is not going to mean a whole lot. So it's very inconclusive to do the amount of research that I've done for this build, and it's not going to look very complete to you because we are missing shield gating. However, when shield gating becomes a thing, this is going to be essential for group play. Now his second ability, Penance, sacrifices shields to boost the reload and fire rate while converting damage inflicted on enemies into health for Harrow and nearby allies. The more damage that is inflicted, the more amount that he gains, obviously. Thurible, his third ability, will channel Harrow's energy into the Thurible to generate a buff. Once finished, kill enemies to bestow nearby allies with bursts of energy. The more energy channeled, the greater the reward for each kill. Headshots produce extra energy. Finally, his ult, the Covenant, protect nearby allies with an energy force, absorbs all damage and converts it to critical chance bonus for all those under the Covenant. Headshots are amplified even further. The only thing that I can really say about this ult is that it's really hit and miss, and it's a matter of timing because you have 2 stages to the ult. You have this Nyx absorb hysteria kind of mixture going on where you can absorb the damage and have invincibility frames for a set amount of time. After that time wears off, you receive kind of like a Rhino Roar and you just get a buff to all crits. That's the best way to explain it. There is a drawback to this though. If you're casting your Covenant because you want to get out of jail free card of damage, then by the time this wears off, you better have your situation under better control, because as long as the crit bonuses are going off, you're not going to be able to be invincible. It's not like you can hit 4 and then hit 4 again to remove and then reactivate your invincibility. That's not the way it works, unfortunately. So there is this little window of opportunity that the enemies will have to bring you down, therefore rendering your crit buffs null and void. Until, of course, you're revived. So let's get into the actual build now, shall we? For aura mods, I'm using the Energy Siphon. For Exilis, I'm using Speed Drift. For everything else, I'm using Redirection, Intensify, Stretch, Prime Flow, Prime Continuity, Natural Talent, Constitution, and Vitality. As I stated earlier, the redirection really isn't going to yield a lot of positive results in the current state of Warframe, because shield gating is not yet a thing. If there's anything that Digital Extremes needs to be prosecuted for, it's the fact that Harrow came without the shield gating update. Shield gating really needed to be a thing before Harrow even came to the game, and the usefulness of this build is not going to show through until shield gating is actually a thing. Intensify to increase the effectiveness of your powers, of course. Vitality to give you a little bit of breathing room in the event that your shield is broken. Constitution to get your knockdown recovery boosted, and also to give you a little bit more time on your duration with your powers. Same thing with Prime Continuity, Prime Flow for obvious reasons. Stretch, again, everything here looks pretty obvious. You can probably gather why everything is here. The only thing that's really important to note is that casting speed. Casting speed is a terrible kryptonite for Harrow. If ever you can waste mod slots to adjust that, I would recommend that you do so. It's going to look like a very mediocre build, but I assure you it's not. It's very, very functional. It addresses all the things that he falls back on. Harrow's one of those frames that he can pretty much do a mission just like a Naros would. There's really not an incorrect way to build for him. The best, most efficient way to build on the retrospective of things is to counter the drawbacks that he has. That way he's more versatile in taking on every other challenge that you'll have to face. Now for primary weapons, I'm using the Scourge. And the main reason why I'm using it is because it pairs very, very well with the secondary, which we'll get to in a second. I'm going to be using the standard corrosive combination, Stormbringer, Malignant Force, Wildfire, Vile Acceleration, Serration, Prime Cryo Rounds, Heavy Caliber, and Split Chamber. I will note that there was a change that was made to Scourge. Heavy Caliber didn't negatively affect it at one point in time, and then they went and patched it, so now the shots wander now. I have not yet changed the build for this, and I may not ever do that. So just be wary of Heavy Caliber. If you don't want your shots wandering off, then take this off and replace it with something else. So, in talking about the secondary, I'm using the Kneel. And it's important to note that I am using the Kneel in tangent with the Scourge, because my battle tactic here is to use the secondary fire with the Scourge to throw it and therefore use a bullet attractor on the enemy's heads, because that's exactly what it does. The secondary fire for the Scourge will attract bullets to the enemy's heads. Therefore, you can capitalize completely upon the Kneel. Now, the Scourge still needs to be modified by Digital Extremes. It's very wonky. It doesn't seem like it works 100% of the time. And I'm not going to bitch about things not working 100% of the time, as long as it works the majority of the time. Sadly, I don't see it working majority of the time, so it does call for a tweak or a rework of some sorts. But in the event that it does work, it helps you get the headshots on your enemies. And the cool thing about the Kneel is that it has infinite ammo when you hit that headshot, so you can just spray rapid fire. And these rapid fires, combined with the crits of Harrow when he boosts them, they're lethal. they're completely devastating. Harrow becomes a glass cannon. I've also compared him to like a poor man's Mesa, because that's exactly what he becomes when the Neil is in his hands. These weapons that came out with Harrow, they are essential to Harrow. I would say that they were an absolute must. If you're not capitalizing on the mega crit potential of the Neil, then you're just not doing it right. Unless you're, of course, you're using Lex Prime or Axe Stiletto, whatever you want to use. I just find it more beneficial to use Neil. For melees, I'm going to be using Glaive Prime, because just like everything else that was added with the Harrow update, they also added in throwable weapons that can be dual-wielded with single-handed pistols. So, the unique mechanic here is whenever you have the Neil out, you also have the Glaive out, so you can throw the Glaive at any point in time. And it may not be fully known at this point, so I'm just going to state it so you know. When you throw your melee, you can also hit the melee button while it's in midair and make it explode. This is going to make power throw really convenient. And everything here is going to be very, very convenient. It's going to do a lot of damage. If you're combating a big group of enemies, you can use your first ability to, hold them in place, maybe capitalize on your headshot. But if you're not competent in your headshot abilities, or you're not confident that you're going to mow down everybody within that mob, then you can always toss the glaive in there, make it explode, do a lot of damage, and get out of there, supporting your team as much as possible. For companions, I'm using Taxon. I really can't see any other Sentinel to use with Harrow. It just there's a few, maybe there's some companions that could be more beneficial, but I just find it really nice to use Taxon because he has this molecular conversion. And basically what molecular conversion does is it blasts enemies within 10 meters, converting 200 damage into shields for the Warframe. 200 isn't a whole lot, but in the grand scheme of things, if your shields are already in the process of going down because you're undergoing fire, then hopefully he's gonna, shoot an enemy and then convert some of that damage to shields for you. So it could prevent, in the event that shield gating is everything we expect it to be, it could prevent your shields from having additional damage being dealt with them. We honestly have no clue how shield gating is going to affect the game, so this is just my preference in the event that it works properly. Taxon is obviously a starter Sentinel, so it's not the best thing to choose, but however, Harrow is going to have the ability to heal it, so it's more of a case of Harrow protecting Taxon and Taxon protecting Harrow. For the weapons that I'm using on Taxon, it's obviously the Artax, because I definitely want to inflict more status damage, and that's one thing that Artax does magnificently. Artax is great at inflicting status damage and slowing down enemies. So what I'll do with the Artax is I will inflict radiation and viral damage instead of the obvious corrosive and heat. That way I can infect them with as many status effects as possible. And that, in the event that you don't want to use Glaive, you could use something like the Indra, and then you can have Condition Overload, which will make you do a mega amount of damage if you want to get in. And at that point you could capitalize on Harrow's ult, get in there and use that opportunity to do a lot of damage while you're doing melee, and also soak up that damage to do more damage on headshots with whatever secondary or primary you're using. You could really use a sniper, and that's why I'm actually going to recommend an updated build that I did for Rubico. Pull it up for you really quickly and show you. It is a 6-forma build, so it is kind of expensive. What I'm using here is a Rubico Ribbon mod, and what this does is it kind of counters the drawbacks of using the Rubico. It has the fire rate, it has damage and punch through. The only thing that it really lacks is the reload time, but that's not a big deal because we got a prime fast hands that also counters it. So you have basically 2 mods here that counter all the drawbacks of the Rubico, and you're left with everything else that does an incredible amount of damage. Bladed Rounds is definitely here to help with the crit, to help boost the crit. Once you get 1 kill, it'll lead to another kill and another kill and another kill. What I would love to do is put on something that helps increase my combo timer, but I just can't fit it in anywhere because everything else is essential. The only thing at this point we have left to discuss is the usage of the Vizarin lens. Now I discovered something here that could potentially help Harrow to the best of his ability, and that's the Disciplined Approach passive under the Vizarin tree. Mending Tides increases the range of affinity kills is shared among allies by 10 meters for the duration of the mission. Now this isn't even leveled up completely, this is only at the first stage, so I would imagine that the meters is going to increase for the range, and that's going to be very beneficial to Harrow because of all the different things that he does within his kit. For instance, the energy return when you get headshots, you'll have a bigger range for affinity to spread to your teammates, so on and so forth. All the different abilities that he uses that depends so heavily upon his kills. And that's really the only drawback with Harrow, is the fact that when you have teammates that you're trying to support, oftentimes they're going to be an issue for you because, you know, Exalted Blade from Excalibur, Mesas who use Peacemaker, anybody who kills is going to present quite the challenge for Harrow to actually get the kills. If the teammates are in his range when he casts these abilities, he should get a portion of their kills added onto him, that way he can support the team properly. Otherwise, you're not going to benefit at all if enemies are getting killed by only your teammates and you can't get a kill in. I have seen this happen so many times. Just really well-formed teams that just rush and tear through enemies, and then Harrow's left there not being able to do anything because he's primarily for support, and if he can't kill anything, then he can't support the team. So to counter that, I just suggest that Warframes that are in his general vicinity grant him a little bit of that kill bonus. That way he can properly support the team at the very minimal efficiency. In closing, I'm going to have to say that Harrow's a very underwhelming support frame. But all in all, he's a really well solo frame. He's very incredible, and if you time him correctly, he's going to be one of those Warframes that pays dividends in-game. But on the scale meter for how difficult he is, I'd pair him up there with Limbo or Trinity. He's kind of hard to get the hang of, but once you've got it down pat and you have a rhythm to him, he's very, very rewarding and very fun to play. So if you like this video and learned something from it, do as I always encourage you to do. Rate, share, subscribe, and until next time, this has been Vance, signing out. Peace.
If you're asking me, I want you to